What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the PewDiePie situation, the shadow banning, what I think of it, and what I think is really going on here. So, and I will, by the way, I'll try and recap people that maybe are unaware or maybe don't know what shadow banning is. I think it's a insanely real thing, and I think, honestly, this should scare a lot of people. And, I'm recording this on Friday, the day before you guys are seeing this. I hope that something is said by PewDiePie. I hope he calls YouTube out. I hope something is done from this ultimately with these things, considering we have very little pull on YouTube. I would say the best we can hope for is that somebody like PewDiePie, which obviously this has impacted him, would say something or something would happen from that, and maybe YouTube could get fixed going forward. That is extremely wishful thinking, but we'll discuss all that here. If you guys do like these videos, I've been trying to do a little bit more edgier, riskier content. Not too much. I don't want to go full-blown, crazy there, because I don't know if it'll affect my YouTube channel, but I do want to cover these topics, as life goes. So if you guys do like this stuff, make sure you guys are liking these videos, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. If you guys aren't already following me on Twitter, PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle, okay? All of the social media stuff is in the description below for you to find it, okay? So let's go over this. So shadow banning, for people that may not know, shadow banning is pretty much when you are banned but not fully. So what does that mean? Well, that means if you go into like the YouTube search, let's say, this was a real thing that happened, with PewDiePie on Thursday, and then it was fixed and changed, and you could see other people actually did videos too where they had, before and after things, where if you typed PewDiePie's name in, you would not see his channel, and you would not see pretty much any of his videos unless you scrolled very far down. And I think, and then it started to work where the first video you saw, or the first thing that popped up, was like a 5-year-old video by PewDiePie and nothing else. You also have, so that's one thing, okay? Just keep that in mind. And then when it was fixed, you saw PewDiePie, because when you type in a name, even if you type in my name on YouTube, okay, Podcast Now, you'll see the very first thing you'll see is the channel where you can subscribe, or you can just click it and go to, my channel page. And then everything below it should be like my videos. Yes, there'll maybe be a couple other things in there, but for the most part, you'll see my channel. You'll probably see the first couple videos or the most recent videos I've uploaded, and then you'll just see maybe the things that are the most popular, whatever. I think you oftentimes see some Gotham Knights stuff, maybe some Hogwarts Legacy stuff, but that's what you see when you type in my name. When you typed in PewDiePie's name, you saw nothing, and you could say, well, that's nothing. Well, I mean, to a content creator that's got, 107, is it? 107 million subscribers, that's kind of a big deal. In fact, it's a huge deal. You also then have his views. So I'm not saying that videos, don't have, fluctuations, that there's some videos that do good and there's some videos that do bad. That's true. That's true for anybody. It's even true for PewDiePie. But look, he can literally title his videos whatever he wants, and he should get somewhere in the realm of like 4 to 6 million, let's say. Normally he gets somewhere in the range of 5 million, okay? So that's after a couple days, sure. But I would say within the first hour or so, he normally has at least like 500,000 plus, because again, he gets around 4 to 6 million, let's say, every single video. No matter, now, are they the greatest titled things? Does it sometimes make content creators like me a little upset? I mean, it doesn't really make me upset. It is always funny, though, and I have talked to other content creators about that kind of stuff, where it's like, when you do get big, you can kind of title your stuff anything, and it won't really impact it at all, whereas when you're smaller, you do have to think a little bit more about the title. You do have to craft the thumbnail a little bit better, right? PewDiePie can have whatever thumbnail, whatever title he wants, and he should at least still get 3, 4, 5 million views, okay? So that's an aside. That's a little mini rant. But, and by the way, I love PewDiePie. Has he done some dumb things? Yeah, but ultimately, he's someone that I think everybody in the YouTube realm should look up to, honestly. And he, for the most part, he tells it how it is, too. And that's why I'm hoping, which we'll get to at the end of the video, I'm hoping he says something about this. So he normally gets 5, somewhere around 5 million. This video on that Thursday that people started realizing, oh, he's shadow banned, is the video only had like 53,000 views, somewhere in that realm. It was very low. 53,000. Now, for someone like me, I mean, that would be like an incredible day, right? For someone like him, that is the worst day that he could ever have. Now, would it like impact him like severely? No, but I mean, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. So that shadow banning, okay, is when you're still there, but YouTube kind of pretends like you aren't, okay? Again, if you type their name, they don't appear. YouTube doesn't help at all. But and again, YouTube always says like, oh, you know, it's the algorithm, and you know, we all have the systems, and you know, I don't know what to tell you, right? That's kind of always been YouTube's pushback to it. But then we have kind of the conclusion of the saga, which was really ironic, and this is why I say in the title, like, YouTube admitted it. Well, YouTube Gaming came out and defended YouTube and said, hey, the algorithm has its way of working. We don't shadow ban. Shadow banning is not a thing, which is, by the way, the biggest joke ever told. That's such a lie. If you guys don't believe that, I'm sorry. Some things I do have to stay very, very if I very passionate or very much believe. I fully believe there's a lot of shadow banning. Tends to be on one side of the spectrum. I've seen numerous, not even in the gaming realm, but numerous cases of shadow banning, and also just deleting channels and terminating channels for the wrong reasons. I've seen it hundreds of times. Okay, so I 1000% believe in shadow banning. If you guys don't, I just feel like it's maybe because you haven't looked into it, because I 100% think it's a real thing. And PewDiePie was shadow banned, and YouTube Gaming defended themselves. But what was funny is Team YouTube said that they were investigating the issue and that it was a mistake, and they're gonna get things back up and running. And then what would you know that after they said that, a couple hours later, back to normal. You type PewDiePie, his channel, first thing that pops up, and then his videos. Odd. That's not an algorithm thing. It's not like his video had a bad day and they were just like, you know, I mean, it just wasn't a capturing kind of video. No, they, for whatever reason, pressed a button in YouTube and shadow banned him. PewDiePie even, now he didn't say shadow ban, but again, we'll talk about this, I guess, at the very, very end. He even, I think, did like a community post where he said like, hey, a lot of my subscribers are saying they're not being notified of my videos, and that, you know, here's the video I did today, right? And I honestly would believe thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would say, yeah, you know, we didn't get your video. So this is a very, very real thing, and a thing that actually did happen just 2 days ago on Thursday. So, well, what does it mean, and what can we do from here? Well, number one, not very good. This is not a good thing, because, you know, you hear YouTubers a lot say, you know, hey, are we shadow banned? Or, hey, I don't feel like and I get it, this is like a YouTube problem, but look, if they do it to PewDiePie, this is an issue for any content creator, and by extension, you guys, because if you guys like, not just me, it doesn't even matter about me, okay? Let's not be selfish in this video, right? If you guys like anybody, pick your favorite YouTuber. If they get shadow banned, your chances of watching them going forward significantly decrease. So it impacts everybody, okay? Every single person that goes on YouTube, whether it be a creator or a viewer, okay? If it happens to PewDiePie, well, one, it could happen to anybody, right? Because he's the biggest of all of us. He is a controversial-ish figure. He says it how he is. He's got a lot of power in the way that, you know, he is very, very big. I don't think he abides by all of the stereotypes that maybe they want a creator to be, right? All the ways that they try to make people do their own thing. So I feel like he is a target. Now, a lot of people are saying maybe this was like a test run to see like if this kind of thing could work on a big creator, and then maybe they could do it for others. You know, this is why I like, for me personally, okay, for me, Alex, I like watching things on the YouTube algorithm and learning about how YouTube works. And there's a lot of good creators out there that talk about, you know, what you need to do to be successful. And I like them, and I like the stuff they teach. But a lot of them are, and I even saw, I think one guy like made fun of this stuff, like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff of how like this isn't, you know, that's not how it works. Even somebody like Daryl Eves, who I'd go so far to even name drop, I mean, he is probably the smartest guy that knows YouTube in and out. But whenever he says like, hey, don't ever say things like the YouTube's not pushing it out to my subscribers. Instead, blame yourself because it's something you're doing. I do think there is something to that. You know what I mean? If I have a down day or if a video doesn't do good, I tend to blame myself first, or I tend to blame the topic because I didn't do something right. Maybe I didn't pick something that you guys would like all that much, or maybe it was because it didn't get a notification because I did 4 videos that day. You know, I tend to blame myself first. and not YouTube. But to say that YouTube doesn't have a problem is the stupidest thing you could ever. So anybody that says that, automatically I'm watching kind of with caution, which is what I do with all of those kind of education YouTube channels. PewDiePie was shadow banned. That's not good. It's something that was fixed, but it was only fixed because it was called out. This is and I even saw people say that to Team YouTube. You know, when Team YouTube tweeted it, they said, or people tweeted back to him and said, like, this is great. And this always happens, by the way. Big channels that get terminated, they get brought back because they had enough power on Twitter to be able to reach out to somebody. You know, that's great, and I'm all for that, because nobody should be canceled, nobody should be wrongfully terminated, nobody should be shadow banned, actually permanently. Everybody should have the right, by the way, to say what they want. Nobody should be shadow banned, but the only reason they're brought back is because they're big. This happens, I assume, daily to thousands, if not more, of other creators that are so small that they can't do anything. To be honest with you, what if I just disappeared? Do I have enough power to be brought back? I don't think I do, honestly. 40,000, 40,500. I don't know if that's enough to be able to reach out to them. I guess maybe on Twitter, stuff like that, but you know what I mean? It's an issue, because if this happens to more people, and that's the biggest thing, this should bring awareness. This should bring awareness, because people that think that shadow banning isn't real, or for whatever reason does believe YouTube that, hey, shadow banning doesn't exist. We never shadow ban. It's always the algorithm. It's just because that video, maybe it was demonetized so it doesn't get pushed out, because that's a real thing, or maybe it was, whatever the reason they're going to use that's in their terms of service, or whatever stupid, excuse they're going to give. They're all just excuses. They're all excuses to hide from the fact that shadow banning, wrongful terminations, all this stuff does actually exist. And now that it's been done on the biggest guy out there, PewDiePie, now I hope everybody knows about it. I really do. I think hopefully everybody is now aware of the situation. And again, I really want PewDiePie to call this out. One of the things I don't love about the fact of like Markiplier or like Moist Critical, right? They're great. They're great. I watch their videos literally all the time. When something bad happens to them, well, they do call them out, especially, especially Moist Critical. Like he'll call them out. He'll call them out, Charlie. He'll call them out big time. But once it's resolved, the kind of reception to YouTube is like, oh, thank you, master, thank you. I'm glad we resolved it. Let's make sure this doesn't happen again. But they say it very politely, and it's like, thank you, sensei. Let's not do this again, please. And the real response, I think, should be, no, this is a major issue that affected me, but that's because it affects everybody, and you need to fix it, and you did fix it for me, but we're not going to hold up. We're going to keep calling it out, and they don't. They drop it. They move on. Everybody moves on, and that's why it can still happen. So while I love Markiplier, while I love people like that, they need to speak out, and PewDiePie in this situation, he has to, because if he lets this go, and he says, because I'm recording this very early on Friday morning, he could be saying, thank you, YouTube, like, glad you fixed this. Let's make sure it doesn't happen again. That's it. That's a very empty statement. That is, again, a bowing down to your master. That's not saying, well, okay, thanks for doing it, sure, but one, don't you ever let that happen again. And secondly, I'm the biggest creator. What about these millions of other ones that you definitely do the same thing to, that they don't get the spotlight, on them? What about them? And to make that a push. And do I think he'll actually do that? Honestly, no. And that's why it's kind of depressing. But that's what he should do. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. I know this was a very different kind of video, but I think it's very important. I really, really do. And I have to speak my mind on these kind of things. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, so that, if I am shadow banned, at least you'll maybe get a notification from that one. But no, honestly, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you like me doing this kind of content, make sure you let me know. Again, follow me on Twitter. Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle, and I'll see you all on the next video.